Assalamu alaikum. Happy 14th of Ramadan. Subhanallah, here we are. Day 14. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless us through this month and grow us and make us of those whose Ramadan is accepted, fasting is accepted, qiyam is accepted, sadaqah is accepted, and tilawat al-Quran is accepted. And all the food we're cooking and making for others is accepted. Ameen. Today we have a really beautiful section in our book. This is the Hadith Ramadan al-Yomi. We're doing this every day, where we are looking at a text from the Sheikh of the 20th century. And it was originally a radio show. It became a book, and now it is an IG live. And I think that's cool, because I think that follows the trajectory of the blessing of media that Allah has blessed us with. We have a really special chapter here today where we are looking at, he says that he says, oh listeners, remember it was a radio show. I want to talk to you today about something that makes everything right. And without it, when it's missing, it makes everything wrong. He says this is something that is needed with children, fathers, mothers, teachers, students, administrators, supervisors, workers. Every part of society needs this quality. In fact, he says that the human being needs this quality with herself. We need this in our interactions with ourselves. It is needed by our general population and needed by individuals. Have you figured it out, what it is yet? Are you thinking about that? What is this quality that is so necessary? He says this quality is the difference between this quality, when it lives in a person, it is what connects the ruh with the jasad. It is what connects the body with the soul. It is what makes a difference between an individual life and a public community life. I saw somebody give one answer. Are we ready for the word that he wants us to talk about today and think about? This word that is so important. It makes things, when it is there, it makes something beautiful. It's a quality. And when it isn't there, it's not beautiful anymore. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ said it about this word. I won't reveal the word yet. ما كان في شيء إلا زانه. Decorates it, makes it beautiful when this thing is in something. ولا نزع من شيء, and when it leaves the thing, إلا شانه, makes it ugly and no longer good, the opposite of zana. I love all of your guesses. They're beautiful, but no one's got it yet. One person has come really close. And because you're giving me English words, I have another person very close. It is, ready for the drum roll, this quality is Rifq. Yes, Hiba al-Aqil. You got it just as I was saying it. Rifq. So let's talk about this word. It is a really interesting word. The Arabic word for friend, al-Rafiq or Rafiqa, comes from Rifq. It is a word that I was trying to read about it in Lisan al-Arab, because I think that that's the dictionary that really adds richness to the meaning of words. And what I was seeing is that Rifq is a gentleness. Rifq is a kindness, it is a gentleness, it is those two things together. It's what brings beauty to life, really. Now, let's look at the different things that he's saying. He says that Rifq makes words and actions as they should be. And it makes that which is easy, easier, and that which is hard, less hard. It means when there is rifq somewhere, it means that there is wisdom there as well. For example, let's talk about something really from dunya. He has the example here. Imagine you're going to buy something, okay? Now, if you're going to buy something, I went actually when I was in Turkey last fall, I was walking home or not home, but back to the place I was staying. And I passed by a carpet shop. This carpet shop was just lovely. And I don't absolutely need a carpet, but I have a lot of nostalgia for carpets from Turkey and Syria. So I was invited into the shop by the shopkeeper. And I thought, I'll just look. Maybe I'll get that exact right carpet. You never know. He said, we ship them for free. So I said, okay, I'll look. Now, much of the shops over in that part of the world, when you walk in, they offer you tea and this stuff. And he did. He offered us tea. I was exhausted. We had been in the old market, and I had been walking around. I'm getting too old, I guess, for such things. So I sat on that chair, quite happy to sit. And he brought me and my travel companions, or those who were with me, he brought us some tea. And it was a very special tea in a little glass tea cup. Served it to us. Started showing us carpets. But I've been shown carpets in many ways before. But this man, he stood out a bit because, and I don't think I had the word before, but now I do. He had a rifq. He was a gentleman. He was a gentleman. He gave us tea. He wasn't pushy. He was showing us these carpets in a lovely way, and yet also inviting me to purchase it and offering me free shipping. By the way, the end of that story is I did not buy. But as you can see, I'm still thinking, should I have bought that carpet? But in the book, he says that if a person has that which you want to sell, and you have someone who wants to buy it, the way that you bring in zaba'in, the customers, is through a rifq. So even here, a rifq is necessary. Goodness. How do you ask? And if you are a customer and you go to a shop, how do you ask for the price? Of course, in America, you just look at the price. But if you're overseas and you want to know how much something costs, there's a way of asking. How much is this? How much are you selling this for? And when the interaction is harsh, it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. And you leave and you might say to yourself, oh, or if you buy it, you might say, oh, I could have gotten a better deal. That doesn't make me happy. Oh, here's another story. I went in Suq Hamadiyeh. So this is the old market in Damascus. One of the more recent times I was there, not this last time, but earlier, maybe last year before, I wanted to buy prayer clothes. And I wanted to buy a number of prayer clothes. I was thinking about gifts and thinking about like new converts. Maybe that's a nice gift to give them and things like that. So I wanted to buy a whole bunch. And I was in this Suq Hamadiyeh, and I had been to other places, and I just saw this out of the corner of my eye, a shop that sold prayer clothes and scarves, not situated where they usually are. So I thought, let me check this one out. So I went in. I mean, when I say I went in, the whole shop itself barely fits 2 people. So I stuck my nose inside the door and asked how much their prayer clothes were. And the shopkeeper, and by the way, I just want to say, not all shopkeepers have Rifq. Some of them are really obnoxious and pushy, and I usually run from those. Anyway, so I stuck my nose in there, and he told me, and they had at that point, they had something that was kind of sort of new, which is Syrian-style prayer clothes with sleeves. And I thought, oh, my granddaughter might like that. So, do you have sizes? Asking the questions. Up to this point, he doesn't know if I'm interested in buying 1 or 10 or what. And he's still being just very generous in his words and kind and not pushy, but he had a Rifq. Well, of course, I wanted to buy from him. I decided I'm not going to look anywhere else. And I said, okay, I'll take, and I don't remember how many I bought. I bought so many, like 50 maybe. He was going to cry from joy. And I'm not exaggerating. He was so happy. I felt like Allah gifted me the blessing of bringing him rizq for that day. Rizq, his provision for that day. And there we had, in that moment, an exchange of Rifq, this word we're working on. Because on one hand, his gentlemanly qualities and my response that was both one of remaining interested, not arrogant, wanting to see and know, and then asking for money, and then feeling happy that I could purchase from him. All of that is mixed up in there, this idea of Rifq. And of course, there are other aspects of shopkeepers that make you feel yucky. When Rifq is gone, you feel yucky in the shop. You might feel like you're being robbed, that they're getting a price just because they're looking at you because you speak English. You might feel like, oh, like what happened there? Did I get tricked? Because there isn't any Rifq. Other examples. He has so many here, I'm looking at them. Other examples, he says, there's another example of Rifq. And here it is, this idea of a Rifq bin nafs fi al-ibadah. So this is interesting. Kindness, goodness, gentleness, really civilized interactions with yourself. Think about how can you be polite with yourself? How can you have Rifq with yourself? You sometimes say horrible things to yourself. If you do, that's not Rifq with the self. We want to have Rifq with ourselves, with our parents, with our children, with our family, our spouses, our cousins, our siblings, all the people close to us. But let's start with the self. When we have Rifq with ourselves, and specifically with ibadah, we are doing 2 things. On one hand, we're reminding ourselves that we as human beings need ibadah. I had a lovely conversation today, actually, with my husband about Ramadan. And he was saying how Ramadan, he used to tell himself, I hope it's okay with you, I think you're on, that I'm telling this, how you used to tell yourself that Ramadan was hard. But now he tells himself, Ramadan should be hard. It should be hard. And I thought that was such a great paradigm shift. Because it should be hard because what it gives us is valuable. What it gives us is valuable. And there's nothing that you will get that is valuable that isn't hard. But as you are experiencing Ramadan, and if fasting is hard for you, if this change in sleep schedules is hard for you, if the change in eating schedule is hard for you, that's okay. Have rifq. Be gentle with yourself. Don't tell yourself, oh, what's wrong with you? Everybody else, all these people on Instagram, not just Instagram, other apps that are like, mashallah, Ramadan, it's so great, it's so great. It is so great. But it's not so great easy. Yesterday we had a lovely, huge iftar for something called the Taking Heart iftar here in Minnesota. It's in collaboration with the Minneapolis Council of Churches. And so people of other faiths come to break fast with Muslims. And we had a really good crowd. And one of the gals there, she was fasting. So she wasn't Muslim, but she was fasting that day so that she could participate with the feeling of breaking fast, she and her son. And the first thing she said, I'm fasting except for just a little bit of water I had. And her son said, yeah, I'm fasting except for just a little bit. I think he said of coffee that I had. So I thought that was cute and funny. And then I said, well, and then somebody else in that same conversation group said, well, I do intermittent oh no, okay, somebody else had talked about intermittent fasting, but that was at a different point in the conversation. But they also said, well, we're okay, we're managing. And I said, yes, but think that we're on day 14. For 14 days in a row now, we have been fasting, not drinking, and not eating. So I have just now created space for all of you who are struggling with fasting to say, yeah, it's hard. But don't say, yeah, it's hard and get cranky. Say, yeah, it's hard and have rifq with yourself. Have rifq with yourself. Say, you know what, it's hard, but what's it doing? What is the beauty of this hard thing I'm doing? What is it doing for me? How is it changing me on the inside? How is it growing me in ways I could never grow in any other way? Have rifq with yourself in your ibadah. That doesn't mean don't do ibadah. That means when you do ibadah, come to your ibadah embracing what of it is hard and attempting to bring your whole self to that space. Worship, ibadah is worship. Now, in that space of rifq with the self, there's also your daily attitude, our daily attitude in Ramadan. Sometimes by this point, at day 15, people are getting tired. And when we're tired, we sometimes do different things, act in a different way. So act with yourself in rifq. Kind to yourself even though you're tired. Good to yourself even though you're tired. Rifq will make your interactions with yourself beautiful. Especially with your ibadah. All right. And also, I want to remind you of one other thing too. I'm thinking about this word, al-qalil, because he uses the word. That we don't have to have a lot of time to have rifq. We can have rifq with the self and with the family in a short amount of time. By extending ourselves in a state of good manners, gentleness, kindness. And I saw many different words come through. I feel like I want to find a way to express it so we can really see it and how it affects us. I think the way the Prophet ﷺ described it. مَا كَانَ رِفْقُ فِي شَيْءٍ إِلَّا زَانَ. So it's something that we add to our interactions. It doesn't make our interaction, okay? So we add it to our interactions, and when we add it to our interactions change, and they become beautiful. They become decorated. They become attractive, good. And when rifq isn't there, our interactions can become ugly. We can be harsh. We can be unkind. Well, and I think it's more than grace as well, although grace is such an important word. It's definitely giving grace, but it's more, and there is respect and there is kindness. I don't think we have an English word for it, actually. Because it is when you look at that person that you're going to give rifq to, you're going to have a rifq with. There is an intimate glance, there's a closeness, and there's no harming, there's no hurting involved. And so this is how we treat our spouses. This is how we treat our children. This is how we treat our teachers. This is how we treat our students. As Muslims, we should be known in community for having a rifq in our interactions with people. That should be our literal reputation. That we are a people of a rifq. A people of gentleness. Absolutely. It should be our reputation. When we're thinking about this regarding our relationships with people as well, I found today we're very reactionary in our relationships. Yes, we use it for animals. Oh, thank you for that. I actually wanted to mention that and I forgot. And so we use the word rifq for animals. And so you want to have rifq for animals. Like, think about how you treat animals. You treat them, you don't have an expectation of how they're going to respond to you. You're not reactionary in your responses. You're just good to them. You're good to the animals. Maybe you feed them, you take care of them, you're kind to them, but you're not expecting them to respond to you in any particular way. I mean, some do, naturally, but not all do. It's not unconditional, no, it's just, it's a quality we have within ourselves, which when we really have it, we can't help but treat everyone with rifq. Rifq. It's something, excuse me, I'm tired today. It's something that is, it's a way of being. Yes, it's a way of being. And it is when we see it, we know it. When we see it, we know it. When you see someone who has a rifq, you know it. But I'm not sure how to give a word to it. And when we know that with other people, again, I'm circling this back. How do we bring a rifq to our ibadah? How do we bring it to our iman? When we bring rifq to ourselves. Okay, another example. So if you have rifq, okay, and you are interacting with life, a rifq, part of it, there's like maturity there. That's a good word, Bashir. There's some level of maturity there where you see your responsibilities and you're going to do them, and you're going to do them pleasantly. And they're going to be part of that joyful goodness, that state of self. So when we have that with our ibadah, then we come to our prayer calmly with good manners. We come to our fasting with the good manners of understanding it might be hard today, but we're not whining, we're not complaining. We're just saying, yeah, it's hard. Alhamdulillah, it's hard because it's the hard stuff that changes us. That's rifq with yourself. That's rifq with yourself. To learn how to accept what is around us and come to it with gentleness and goodness and good manners. So that's the beginning of the message of Rifq. We'll finish them tomorrow. Inshallah, we'll do more tomorrow about Rifq, more examples. If you are here in Minnesota, make sure to come, and you are a woman, come by the RCC tomorrow. I'm cooking today and tomorrow I'm inviting you to Minnesota food, which is super fun and a little bit crazy. Also, reminder to donate to Rabata and help us sustain this work at rabata.kindful.com for it to become a monthly donor, and launchgood.com/Rabata to give us your Ramadan donation. All right, lovely ladies. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Assalamu alaikum. Remember to hold on to Rifq today. Hold on to Rifq today. Assalamu alaikum.